Your son needs help urgently. They are planning to bring him. Open it before 12 a.m. tonight. Archangel Michael says, my beloved child, listen closely, because what you are about to hear is not a warning born from fear. It's a message wrapped in urgency, truth, and a force that has been trying to reach you for far too long. Tonight carries a weight that is unlike any other night before it. And every second you remain here is a second that pulls you deeper into the revelation waiting at the center of this unfolding moment. Something huge is waiting for you. The air around you has already shifted. You can feel it even if you pretend you can't. There is a silence that doesn't sound empty anymore. It's filled with footsteps, whispers, and the echo of choices someone else is making about the person you care for more than anything, your son. Not because he has done something wrong, but because his spirit is brighter than they could handle. They have been watching him too closely, too quietly, preparing something behind the curtain of your ordinary routines, something they hoped you would never notice. Yet the truth always finds the one who loves the deepest. And tonight it has found you. My cherished guardian, before you take another breath, understand this. Pieces of this story have been moving long before you realized you were in it. Every unusual moment, every strange silence, every shift in your son's eyes that he tried to hide behind a tired smile, none of it was random. You thought it was just stress, just a passing phase. But what you didn't see was the shadow of a plan forming around him step by step. They are planning to bring him somewhere he does not belong. Not physically, but emotionally, pulling him into doubts, fears, and pressures he was never meant to carry. People around him have pretended to care while quietly pushing him toward choices that dim his confidence, weaken his spirit, and distance him from the strength he inherited from you. And tonight is the moment everything reaches its turning point. You were never supposed to know. But your heart felt it anyway, didn't it? That unexplainable heaviness, that ringing sense that something was coming. You felt the vibration of truth before the truth had a chance to speak. And now it speaks through this very moment, through these very words, pulling you into the center of the revelation that was waiting for you all along. My chosen protector. If you keep listening, without rushing, without scrolling, without letting your mind wander, you will begin to feel how everything around you aligns into one clear line, one path that leads straight to the truth they tried so hard to keep hidden. Your son is standing at the edge of a choice he doesn't fully understand. Surrounded by people who smile too easily, yet carry intentions disguised behind soft voices and harmless gestures. They want to guide him, influence him, shape him into something that fits their world, not his. And they assumed you would never sense it. They thought your love made you blind. But the truth is, your love made you sharper than any of them expected. Tonight before 12 o'clock a.m. a window opens. A moment where the energy around him can shift. Where your presence can reach him in ways it couldn't before. Where your guidance becomes the shield he didn't know he needed. This is not danger. This is destiny tapping on your door. This is the universe choosing you because only you have the strength to pull him back from the weight they tried to place on him. Something huge is waiting for you. And the next part will reveal exactly why this message came to you first and not to anyone else. My beloved child, the moment you stepped into this second part, the energy around you shifted again, quicker, sharper, almost as if the truth itself rushed forward the instant you returned. Something huge is waiting for you. And now that you didn't scroll away, the path ahead has begun to reveal what they never wanted you to see. Tonight is not just another night. It is a crossroads disguised as a countdown. Before 12 a.m., a curtain will fall, and once it does, everything surrounding your son, his thoughts, his doubts, the silent pressure he has been carrying will either be released or tightened, clears throat, and they know it. That's why they have been moving in the shadows with such urgency. They want to reach him before you do, because your presence is the one force that can break their grip in a single heartbeat. They watched how your bond with him glows even when the world dims, and it threatened them. They knew that if you sensed even a fraction of what they were planning, the entire blueprint they built around him would collapse instantly. That is why this message found you now. This exact moment with this exact intensity, because time is bending in your favor even if they believe they still control the board. My resilient soul, look closely into the recent days. Recall the conversations your son avoided. The unusual pauses when he looked away. The sudden shift in the way he answered simple questions. Those moments weren't accidental. They were signals, small cracks in the mask he was trying to hold together. He didn't want you to carry his burden because he thought he had to face it alone. But the truth is, he has been surrounded by influences that push him toward confusion, choices that don't reflect who he truly is, and people who quietly mold him with intentions brighter on the surface, but darker behind the walls. They are guiding him, not with force, but with subtle words, disguised advice, and carefully placed doubts meant to blur the strength you planted in him. They want to bring him into a space where he questions his own worth. Where he forgets the power he carries, where he becomes dependent on voices that do not want him to grow without their permission. And the most alarming truth, he has started sensing it, but he doesn't know how to escape it. He keeps it hidden behind a smile, hoping you won't see the weight pressing on his chest. But you always felt the shift, didn't you? Even when no one else noticed, your spirit caught the tremor, because a bond like yours cannot be manipulated, no matter how carefully they try to work around it. My fierce guardian, tonight is the turning point. Before the clock hits 12 a.m., a window opens that allows your intuition, your presence, your unseen strength to reach him in a way no voice around him can overshadow. This is the hour where destiny leans closer to the one chosen to protect you. They have moved silently for weeks, but this is the moment their silence breaks. You are not here by mistake. You were drawn into this message because your son's spirit called out, not in fear but in need of guidance, and the universe listened. If you stay with this journey, if you read each word without distraction, the layers hiding their intentions will peel away one by one. The next part will expose exactly what they are planning, why they chose him, and the single step you must take before the night ends. Something huge is waiting for you, and you are closer to uncovering it than they ever expected. My beloved child, the moment you arrived here, the atmosphere around you tightened with a clarity that wasn't present before. Something huge is waiting for you. And now you're stepping into the part where truth stops whispering and begins to speak with its full force. Everything up to now was preparation, signals, hints, shadows moving at the edge of your awareness. But this part, this is where the pattern finally reveals itself. Your son has been standing at the center of a circle. You didn't draw a circle, formed quietly around him by people who smile warmly yet hide intentions woven with threads he was never meant to carry. They aren't trying to harm him, but they are trying to shape him into something that aligns with their expectations, their fears, their limits. They want to mold his path before he learns how powerful his own steps truly are. And they believe that if they surround him closely enough, influence him subtly enough, he will never question the direction they're pushing him toward. But they underestimated one thing: the bond that connects him to you. A bond stronger than any quiet manipulation or hidden pressure. That bond is the very reason you're here, reading this at the exact second you were meant to. My unwavering protector. Think back to the moments that didn't feel right. The sudden shift in his behavior. The quietness in his eyes that didn't match his words. The hesitation he carried when he talked about certain people. Certain decisions, certain plans. He brushed it off, but your spirit caught the tremble behind his voice. That wasn't coincidence. That was the weight of influence pressing on him. Those around him have been planning to guide him into a choice that benefits them, not him. A choice that takes him away from his true direction. They want him to follow a path scripted long before he even realized it was placed in front of him. They speak to him gently. They advise him kindly. But beneath that softness lies a pressure that doesn't belong to him. It's the kind of quiet push that makes a person doubt their own instincts. And that doubting is exactly what they want. But the universe refused to let him face it alone. It brought you into this moment because your presence has the power to break that script in half. Your awareness can unravel their influence. Not by confrontation, but by awakening the clarity he has been craving without knowing how to ask for it. My chosen light, the countdown matters because tonight is the final moment before their plan begins to solidify. Before 12 a.m., his spirit becomes more receptive to truth than to pressure. This is the hour where your energy reaches him with a strength nothing around him can overshadow. He doesn't need saving. He needs grounding, guidance, the reassurance that the path aligned with his heart is still within reach. You are the only one whose voice his spirit trusts without second-guessing. That is why this message found you and not anyone else. Because your role isn't to fight the shadows around him. Your role is to remind him of the light within him. The next part will reveal what triggered their focus on him, how long this has been building, and the single action that will shift the entire direction of his journey before the clock hits midnight. Stay here. Don't rush. Don't look away. You are steps away from the revelation that changes everything. My beloved child, the very fact that you made it here to this exact moment means the truth has finally chosen to stand in front of you without disguise. Something huge is waiting for you. And now you're entering the part where the pieces start locking together, forming a picture they hoped you would never see clearly. Your son has been carrying a weight placed on him by people who believe they understand his future better than he does. They watch him not out of love but out of expectation. Expectation to follow their path, their ideas, their version of who he should become. They are planning to bring him deeper into decisions he doesn't fully agree with but feels pressured to accept. Not because he is weak, but because he has been taught to be strong for others, even when it costs him his own clarity. They think tonight gives them the perfect opening, the perfect emotional moment to influence him one step further. But what they didn't consider is you. Your presence, your intuition, your timing, your ability to see through the calm surface they hide behind. My vigilant soul, this didn't begin yesterday. This didn't begin last week, this has been forming slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. A comment here, a subtle suggestion there. A harmless opinion slipped into his thoughts at the right moment. A future painted for him in colors he never chose. They've been doing it with a softness that makes it look like care when in reality it's control wrapped in gentleness. And your son, carrying a heart too pure to suspect anything, has been absorbing their words like he's supposed to. But deep inside, something in him has been resisting. You've seen the signs, the hesitation in his responses, the unsettled silence after certain conversations, the way he breaks eye contact when he's trying to hide the truth he doesn't know how to explain. That's not confusion. That's his instinct trying to pull him back toward the path meant for him. And the reason he hasn't fallen completely into their mold is because your energy, your guidance, your love has been standing like a shield around him, even when you didn't realize it. My chosen protector, tonight is the crossing point. Before 12 a.m., the spiritual doorway around your son becomes more open than usual. This is why the message came now. It isn't superstition. It's alignment. It's timing. It's the universe making sure you stand between him and the direction they are trying to push. You're not meant to confront anyone. You're not meant to fight. You're meant to anchor him, ground him, remind him subtly, quietly, without pressure of who he truly is beneath every expectation placed on him. Your presence alone is enough to shift everything. Your energy is the one force they cannot influence, cannot weaken, cannot overshadow. And the next part will reveal the exact breakthrough he is about to experience. The moment where his clarity finally rises and the reason you were chosen to guide him into the truth waiting on the other side of this night. Stay close. Stay aware. Stay present. The revelation is coming, my beloved child. The moment you stepped into this part, the air around you shifted again. It feels heavier, clearer, almost electric, as if something powerful is unfolding right in front of you. Something huge is waiting for you. And this is where the hidden truth finally begins to open its eyes. Your son has been walking through days that look normal on the outside, but inside him, a quiet storm has been gathering. He has felt torn between what his heart is whispering and what others are trying to convince him is best. They are planning to pull him further into a direction that feels safe to them, not to him. They want to bring him into a mindset that benefits their comfort but steals his spark. And the most shocking part, they believe he will follow because he doesn't want to disappoint anyone. They rely on his kindness. They rely on his silence. They rely on him being too gentle to resist. But what they don't realize is that your presence stands like a force they cannot shape or silence. The bond between you and him is older, deeper, and stronger than any plan they could ever weave in the dark. My courageous spirit, look deeper into the last few days. Think about the moment he paused before answering you. Think about the way he looked down when you asked if everything was fine. Think about that sudden heaviness in his voice. The hesitation in his step. The way he forced a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Those weren't small things. Those were signals. Signals that his spirit was calling out to you, hoping you'd notice what he couldn't put into words. He didn't tell you because he didn't want to burden you. He didn't want you to worry. But inside, he has been fighting a quiet battle, trapped between wanting to follow his own path and feeling pressured into someone else's vision. What they are planning to bring him into is not dangerous, but it is misaligned. It dims his confidence. It separates him from his purpose. It drags him away from the direction he was meant to rise toward. And this night is the moment everything begins to shift. Because the closer midnight approaches, the more sensitive his heart becomes to truth, to intuition, to your presence guiding him back into himself. My guiding light, you were chosen to receive this message because you are the only one whose energy reaches him without force. You don't push, you don't pressure, you remind, you anchor, you strengthen. And that is exactly what he needs before the clock turns and the choices around him begin to solidify. Before 12 a.m., his spirit opens like a window, allowing clarity, protection, and truth to sink deeper than fear or confusion. If you simply stay aware, if you stay present, if you speak to him with gentle honesty, when the moment presents itself, the entire direction they were trying to lead him toward will dissolve. Not through conflict, but through connection. Not through resistance, but through recognition. The next part will uncover the exact moment your son's inner shift begins. The sign you'll see and the truth he's been holding quietly in his heart, waiting for you to notice, waiting for you to guide him back to himself. Stay with this. You're closer to the breakthrough than you realize, my beloved child. The instant you stepped into this part, the atmosphere around you sharpened with a clarity that feels almost magnetic, as if destiny itself leaned closer to make sure you don't miss what comes next. Something huge is waiting for you. And now you're entering the part where the truth stops hiding and begins to pulse through every word. Every breath, every quiet second you spend here, your son has reached a point in his journey where his spirit is trying to break free from the expectations wrapped around him. Those around him, people who believe they know what's best, have been preparing to guide him toward a choice that benefits their comfort far more than his own growth. They see his potential, and instead of nurturing it, they want to shape it in a way that keeps him predictable, agreeable, easy to direct. They think that tonight gives them the perfect opportunity to pull him deeper into their influence. But what they didn't consider is that your awareness arrived before their plan could take root. My steady flame. Everything your intuition felt over the last few days was true. Your son has been wrestling with invisible pressure. The kind that doesn't shout, but slowly crowds a person's thoughts until they're unsure which voice is theirs. He has been questioning himself, doubting his direction, second-guessing the dreams he used to speak about with confidence, and while he tries to keep the smile on his face, there's a fog behind his eyes that didn't exist before. That fog isn't confusion, it's interference. Each conversation he had with them, each suggestion disguised as guidance, each moment they planted their expectations into his mind, it created a layer over his own inner voice. But deep down beneath that fog, his true self is still alive, waiting, pushing, trying to break through. And the universe is aligning this exact night, this exact hour, this exact moment, so that his clarity can rise again. Before 12 a.m., his spirit becomes more receptive to truth, not to pressure, more open to intuition, not influence. More connected to you, not to them. That's why you're here. That's why these words found you. That's why nothing distracted you away from reading this. My chosen guardian, here is the breakthrough you've been moving toward. Your son is on the edge of a shift so powerful that once it happens, no voice around him will be able to shape him again without his permission. You will notice it in a single moment. His shoulders relaxing in a way they haven't in days. His eyes looking clearer, his voice sounding steadier. It may happen when he walks into the room. It may happen when he speaks a single sentence. It may happen when he looks at you silently, searching for the grounding only you can give him. And when that moment arrives, your role is simple yet profound. Be present, not forceful, not urgent, just present. Your calmness becomes his clarity, your stability becomes his strength. Your presence becomes the reminder of who he is beneath every expectation placed on him. Once the clock moves past this night, the influence they tried to place around him will lose its hold. The next part will reveal the final truth. What triggered their interest in him? Why he was targeted with such precision? And how this shift will quietly redirect his entire future. Stay close. You're on the edge of the revelation that changes everything. My beloved child, now that you've reached this moment, the energy around you feels different, denser, more focused, almost as if the truth has been holding its breath, waiting for you to arrive. Something huge is waiting for you. And this is the part where the curtain finally starts lifting on the why behind everything your son has been experiencing. What you sensed wasn't imagination. It wasn't overthinking. It was alignment. Your son carries a kind of inner fire that most people can't understand because it's the kind of strength that isn't loud, isn't boastful, isn't chaotic. It's quiet power, rare power. The kind of power that grows from a pure heart, a clear intuition, and a spirit that doesn't bend easily. People like him don't go unnoticed. They attract admiration, but they also attract those who feel safer when someone strong becomes dependent. The ones around him saw that light, and instead of encouraging it, they began forming their own plans around it. They believed if they guided him subtly enough, if they steered him with concern, wrapped in soft words, they could shape his decisions before he realized his own ability to choose. But the universe refused to let that happen without giving you the truth first. My intuitive soul, here's what triggered everything. Your son stepped into a phase of growth that made certain people around him feel unsettled. Not threatened, just uncomfortable. His confidence started rising. His ideas became clearer. His potential began to show itself in ways that promised independence. And independence is something those around him weren't ready for. People who depend on control fear the moment someone they influence begins thinking for themselves. So they began placing emotional weights on him, expectations disguised as advice, responsibilities disguised as care, opinions disguised as support. They weren't trying to break him. They were trying to keep him aligned with their comfort zone. They wanted him close enough to guide, predictable enough to shape, soft enough to influence. But the reason he resisted even silently is because his soul recognizes that his path is bigger than the limits they are placing on him. That inner pull he has been feeling, the discomfort, the pressure, the quiet frustration, isn't confusion. It's his spirit warning him that the path someone else is drawing isn't the one meant for him. And you felt that shift before he ever said a word because your connection to him doesn't rely on explanations. It relies on energy. My guiding flame before the night reaches its turning point. Something profound will unfold. Your son will experience a moment of sudden clarity. A moment where everything inside him aligns with a single truth. He is not meant to follow anyone's script but his own. It may come through a conversation that leaves him thinking in silence. It may come through a memory that returns unexpectedly. It may come through a feeling sharp, sudden, unmistakable that he needs space to breathe as himself again. When that moment comes, he will look for the one person whose presence strengthens him without forcing him. You. Your calmness will feel like home to him. Your listening will feel like relief. Your presence will feel like truth. And when that moment happens, the subtle hold others try to place around him will begin to dissolve. Not through conflict. Not through resistance, but through awakening. That awakening is the shift destiny has been preparing him for. And the next part will reveal the final layer. How this shift shapes his next steps and the hidden reason why you were chosen to guide him through this exact phase of his journey. Stay with this. You're walking straight into the heart of the revelation. Subscribe. Manifest Archangel TO. Listen God's talk and wisdom every day.